When someone passes, where do they go? Gone forever? Or can they show? What if you could find someone between to bridge the gap of those?
I'm Michele Livingston, and I've been a spiritual medium for the last 30 years, appearing on Fox News, New York.
Hello, everybody. I'm Greg Jarrett. Welcome back to Breaking News. It's going to be a really interesting guest for the hour. Michele Livingston is a visionary counselor.
On stage with medium James Von Prague.
Did anybody smoke, Richard?
Yes.
I smell tremendous smoke even up here. Was that your father that smoked?
My father and my mom.
On ABC
There's
News.
Air, oxygen everywhere. You can't see it, but it's here. Same thing with the spirit realms. So even though it's in a beautiful invisible realm, I have the capacity to tap into it and actually see them. He says, thanks for the balloons. I have no idea what that means. Do you have your mother's ashes with you?
My brother and I had necklaces made with her ashes in them, and I just took it off the chain tonight and put it in my pocket because I was curious if it would come up, and it did.
From the east in Harrisburg, PA, to the west in Hollywood, CA, I'm the People's Medium.
Hello, Tony.
Hi, Michele.
How are you holding up, my dear?
I'm doing great, and I'm hoping you're doing well too. I have to say I'm very fortunate and blessed compared to many others.
Yes, that's how I feel too. And I want to send out blessings to everyone listening and watching, wherever you are. Thought maybe I'd do a podcast on hope. I think that, wow, we're all so isolated from each other that we need our spirits lifted a little bit. Thought this would be a good topic tonight. I know each one of you feel different. Some of you have told me you're frustrated, you're angry, you feel crushed, you feel abandoned. I mean, everyone fearful. Everyone has a different emotion approaching this. The whole world, as we know, is on pause. It has literally shut down. But it is a time to reflect and a time to think about what's really important in our lives, whether it's our families, our friends, our fur babies, love them, our home. It's a time to really stop. And we are being made to stop now. It's a global community. People are praying for other people, lending helping hands. I don't think I've ever seen more posts on prayer and other ways to help one another than in the last couple of months. So this is an invisible enemy. We already know that, that we have never experienced before. And this is what makes it a little bit scary for all of us. It's not just being on pause. It's like, when is it going to be over? Is there going to be light at the end of the tunnel? This is what we're all hoping for and thinking. Some of you, and I've talked to some of you, enjoy working from home. You're telemarketers, or you don't have to go to work. Some of you, one lady said, oh, I love my pajamas now. I don't have to put on makeup. I don't have to wear heels. I can just relax all day. So this could really become a leisure time for people. But really, compassion is contagious, not just the COVID-19, but I've watched news clips and I've watched good feel stories. And positivity really is contagious, along with compassion. So as I said, people are reaching out in this moment of crisis, and we are banding together, homeschooling the children, which we know, praying for ourselves, praying for others, and spending time in our homes with our loved ones, and on Zoom, and Zoom and Skype has literally gone through the roof. People wanting to connect that way. It is not the same. It is not the same as a hug. It is not the same as a kiss on the cheek. It's not, but it's what we need to do now. And we need to really follow what we're supposed to do and think of the next person, whether it's a roll of toilet paper. You wouldn't believe how many stores I had to call to get some toilet paper. But, this is what we're dealing with now. And people in my neighborhood are banding together. There are food donations being taken to Harrisburg. That's our capital here in Pennsylvania. There are many, many people in the neighborhood making masks and delivering them, which is a wonderful thing to do. I even heard some hotels are opening their doors to the homeless, so they do not get the virus. And even some landlords, bless them, are sending out kind-hearted notes to their tenants. And they're saying, hey, don't worry about this. This will be over and you'll have a place to land. And so kindness, I really want to say, is on the upswing. We need to stop and pause and look at the positivity. Look at what brings us joy. I many times sit at my kitchen breakfast table and look out at nature. And nature nurtures, and nature's beautiful. The pear tree behind me is from our side yard. But the squirrels, the bunnies, the birds, I mean, they are in their own world doing their thing, and they're fascinating to watch. I love to do that now. I've been journaling more. I've been thinking about what's really important as time goes by. So also in my state of Pennsylvania, teachers have band together. We know that the kids are homeschooled. Many teachers have made videos of themselves, and they are telling their students, hey, keep your chin up. Love you. We're going to get through this. The teachers here in PA have become cheerleaders to their students. And the elementary school teachers, I was a elementary art teacher for 10 years in Harrisburg. Those kids really need reassurance. So those teachers have been recording themselves actually reading stories to their elementary students. It's just great. Before we went on, Tony was mentioning aliens, and my husband is really big into this, trust me. And he said to me this morning, we were sitting in the sunroom, and I'm going to quote him because I had to stop and think about this. He said, in a sci-fi movie, that's how he talks. He said, in a sci-fi movie of invaders from outer space, like War of the Worlds, the countries of the world band together against a common enemy. So think about that one. This is an invasion of an invisible alien enemy, but it is bringing our world together. It is bringing the global community together. We'll never see anything like this in our lives again, probably. As I said, I believe this light at the end of the tunnel. I do. And the last one, as we know, pandemic, was around 1918 or 19, almost literally 100 years ago, right to the year. So again, I heard about it. My grandmother passed of influenza during that time, my mother's mother, and she loved her very much. She stayed with her one whole summer and didn't go out to play. So again, it's a matter of priorities. What is your priority as you're listening to this? What have you done to get through this? Has your thinking changed? Has your faith heightened? Are you praying more for yourself and for others? I have some positive affirmations I want to go over just briefly because I have two wonderful guests coming on that will inspire you very much. So stay with me. We know that the I am positive affirmations really bring about results. And we know that thought plus energy equals form. So make a list of the things that will calm you down. And for example, you could make a list that says, I am protected from the crown of my head to the soles of my feet. I am calm and peaceful. I am trusting in the divine. I am safe, protected. I am blessed in the light of love. I am filled with hope. I am filled with joy. I am surrounded by my angels. And I do believe in angels. I hope those that are tuning in just listen to this. Your loved ones up in heaven are coming down around you more than ever before. You might feel isolated. You might feel abandoned, but guess what? The air is invisible. We wouldn't last long without it. Love is invisible, but we feel it in our hearts. And your loved ones from heaven are down around you now. Maybe some of you have felt them, dreamt of them. The angels are being sent down. You know, there's a group up there in heaven of angels, and they're called the Mercy Band. I have a story, sometime I'll tell it. When I was a teenager, I met an angel in human form that took human form in time of need for me, and it literally saved my life. So I feel that angels are coming down. There are also earth angels of the first responders, earth angels of the frontline nurses, doctors. All these people together are bringing us hope, are calming us down. Their hearts are in it. Some of these people are working 12 to 14 hours every day. I can't even imagine that. And so they are our heroes, our unseen heroes. They're the ones we need to send a prayer up for. Really, we do. Remember at this time also, please to count your blessings. This is very important. What it does, it flips the coin from fear to love. And you know, there are two polarities in this world, love and fear. And because we're so fear driven right now, stressed, we need to flip the coin to what we're grateful for. So you could say, I am thankful for my good health. I'm thankful for my family, for the love of them, for my friends, for my neighbors, and our fur babies. Don't forget our fur babies. I'm thankful for them. As I said, on a positive note, the shelters are clearing out. More people are adopting cats and dogs to save their lives. And that to me brings me a lot of joy. I love animals. We have 4 kitty cats right now and 2 outdoor cats, but they bring you unconditional love. They really do. And also there are more prayers for the global community. If you just say a simple sentence, thank you for all who have recovered from COVID-19 and will recover. Hope, what is hope? Well, it's a nebulous word. It's invisible, as we know, just like faith, just like prayer. But people are reaching out, and hope helps us manage stress. It really, really does. It helps us to survive against all odds. It's the anticipation of a good future, of sunlight, of a sunny day. And I always say the pendulum swings both ways. This is a temporary situation. We don't know how long it's going to be, and we don't know what it's going to be after it's over, after we are not isolated anymore. But that's where hope, and I'm serious, that's where hope does come in during a crisis. So hope helps us to endure day by day. It really gives us confidence in the face of doubt. And people do get pretty creative during a crisis. I'm getting a drink of water if you're listening, so I'm taking a pause here. I know there are so many good feeling stories out there. I just wanted to share one, which I thought was pretty cute. In Connecticut, an elderly gentleman would not let this virus stop him from wishing his wife of 67 years. Can you imagine that? A wedding anniversary. Hello. So he was very creative. Where there's a will, you know, there is a way. He got balloons. He went to the lockdown nursing home and stood out there and held up a big sign that he actually had made. The sign said, I've loved you for 67 years. I still do, and I always will. And I just think that's a beautiful thing. You've seen photographs of people through the glass putting their hands together. One young girl got engaged, loved her grandpa, didn't know how to tell him. He was also in a nursing home. She went to his window and put her hand up, and he started to cry. So he got in his walker, he walked over, And he put his hand on the glass right beside her hand. And these stories really are poignant. They let you know that love lives, that hope lives, that faith lives, and the power of prayer. I do really believe in that. Another Ohio hospital, which is fascinating, had a really interesting idea. They got together and said, well, now look, we're all wearing these masks, and this is scary to people. They're in a ward or an ICU, and everybody has masks. So what the nurses and doctors did is take pictures of themselves smiling, and they made pins, and they wore them on their surgical gowns, so that when the people came in, they felt peaceful and calm, and they actually were able to see who was treating them. There have been more recoveries, everybody, than there have been deaths. It's 1% of the population, and I know that news is good. Please try not to be glued to your news channel because it really instills fear. And I think everyone understands that. We want to do what's right. We want to protect ourselves and our family and those around us. We want to follow the rules, but also we want to release fear. Whatever makes you happy in your home, please do more of it. Play music. Dance around, play with your kids, cook. I'm going to throw the scale out, Tony. I've been cooking more than ever. God help us.
I'm wearing sweatpants.
Do you cook, Tony?
We do. We cook. We also get delivery too, just to help out the mom and pop shops. But I'm wearing a lot of sweatpants these days.
You might just get a little comfortable in them. I know I'm getting comfortable. I'm getting comfortable in nightgowns. I better watch myself.
Right.
I'll never get out of here. I mean, honestly. So I like the idea of the creativity during a crisis. I do have a special guest, though, that I want to bring on in a minute. And I want to tell you a little bit about this lovely nurse named Lisa. I was really actually moved by what she wrote to me on a private message. She is a very special person. She's a frontline nurse in the Philadelphia hospital, which is a hot spot. It's not as hot as New York or New Orleans, but it's still a hot spot because it's a city. And she works 12 to 14 hours a day in ICU. And this is what she wrote to me, which moved me. Michele, every time I feel my mind wandering to a place of fear, I stop and I take a few deep breaths. I know that I am not my body, but a soul inhabiting a human body, that I will live on, and that brings me peace. Wouldn't you want to have Lisa come to you? Heaven forbid, if you do contract COVID-19, because she has a gentle heart and she's filled with love. And she also said, before I intubate a patient, which means put the breathing tube in them, she says, I tell them that I love them. I say you are safe, and I say all is well. And she also does some positive affirmations. So could we please bring my first beautiful guest on, Lisa, Tony?
Yes, ma'am. Are you ready for Miss Lisa?
Yes, I am.
All right, let's go ahead and add Lisa. Lisa, you there?
Lisa? Hello?
There she is.
Hi,
Hello, Lisa. Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Thank you so much for taking some time out from your very busy schedule in the hospital to bring us some hope and to let us know that you have remained fairly calm, haven't you, my dear?
I have. Prayer helps.
Prayer does help. Positive affirmations help, don't they, Lisa?
Yes.
So, do you say positive affirmations? Let me ask you that. I just gave some. I think you were on mute.
I do.
But what do you say?
Especially before I go into work, I meditate. And then before I go in, I say, Dear God, please protect me physically, spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. Protect my aura and my soul. And please only bring people and situations into my space who are for both of our highest good.
And that brings you calm, doesn't it?
It does. I feel empowered, and I feel that it brings me calm.
Let me ask you something. What is a typical day? I have no idea. In ICU, what goes on there, Lisa? Can you just tell us a little bit about that?
Prior to COVID, it was a chaotic, stressful place. But as I was telling you earlier, something magical happened there, even though it's a stressful disease, but there's a sense of calm in the unit that I've never seen before. Like, it brings out, as you said earlier, about the kindness in people, the camaraderie. There are some incredible, they are literally angels on earth, the people in those intensive care units, everybody.
Earth angels.
Yes.
And, many times in the news, it makes us feel like these beautiful people are dying alone. They're not, are they? Because the nurses, the frontline nurses, and a lot of people are there for them, aren't they?
Oh, yes. It's so many. In fact, the other night when I was on, a gentleman transitioned, and there were so many people in his room with him that they were actually telling people to leave the room. So it touched my heart, like how many people were there supporting him.
Yes. And that's a beautiful thing.
Yes. And as they're doing it, what they need to do to resuscitate him, but they're also saying kind things to him. Like, it's okay. You're safe. Just positive affirmations while they're doing it.
So not just you, my dear, but
everyone.
Everyone.
Yes, it's amazing.
That is amazing, because we know that you're heroes, and we really don't get a glimpse of what's behind the scenes. We kind of do. But just to know that there's calm there, that you're taking the time to tell everyone you love them, and everyone's going to be okay.
Yes.
Many have recovered,
yes.
Lisa, have they not?
Yes. In fact, more recover than don't. And that's why I get so disappointed with the news, because they just keep telling the negative side of this. There's so many miracles that happened. There's more people that get better than don't.
That don't.
Yes.
And as far as ventilators go, all we're hearing is we need more ventilators. So how long would a person with COVID-19 be on one, and how does that work?
So typically, they're usually on a ventilator for anywhere from 5 to 21 days. Around 21 days is when they think you're doing something more invasive, like an ECMO, but usually around that time frame. That's why they need so many ventilators, because once you're on a ventilator, you're on for a long time to heal.
So in other words, it's not that I think we're kind of leveling the curve. It's not that more people are panicked and wanting ventilators. It's that they're on ventilators longer. Most of the time. How many days usually is a person on a ventilator, would you say?
It depends, but usually about after a week, they're trying to do something more invasive before that, but it's usually a bridge. But it takes that long for them to fight the virus.
Wow. So that is the reason that we want more, because it's a longer transition time.
Yes.
So let me ask you what you've learned. I mean, has your faith strengthened, my dear, through this? And this is shocking to everyone, but for you personally, has it helped you with your faith? Or
Absolutely. I remember the first time, because I'm a nurse anesthetist, so usually I'm in the operating room. And then when this virus came, they're not doing surgeries, so they pulled us to the intensive care unit to help there. And I was terrified. I haven't been in an intensive care unit working in over 15 years. But when I went there, I was just overwhelmed by the kindness, the sense of peace that I've learned, the hope. Like, because I heard on the news prior to this was how horrible it is and how people are dying. But when I got there, I thought, wow, yeah. I was overwhelmed at first, but I realized they are getting better. Like, they're not getting like every mini step was a celebration. Like they're not getting worse. So we celebrated, and they're just getting better.
That's a good way to approach it. Life is a celebration.
Yes.
And I imagine everyone that leaves that hospital is so thankful and grateful for all that you've done. There was also, you told me a story, I don't know, I think you either wrote it or we talked about it a few weeks ago. Your very first patient, when did she come in, Lisa?
She came in at the beginning, toward the end of March. So she was the very first patient that we got at our hospital.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And we didn't know that much about it. And she was intubated for 21 days. And we all thought they're very sick. And we all thought that she wasn't going to make it. But I told you earlier she was extubated after 21 days, meaning the breathing tube came out.
Mm-hmm.
And on Easter Sunday, she was discharged from the hospital, and they had a standing ovation, and they played the Rocky theme over the PA system of the hospital.
That's so inspiring, the Rocky theme. If any of you probably have all seen the Rocky movie. He's in Philadelphia on the steps of the Philadelphia Museum. And so it's a heroic song. And they just piped in the Rocky theme.
Yes, with a standing ovation with all her caregivers, signing and clapping as she went by in the wheelchair.
That's so beautiful.
She was so sick. It was like she is a miracle. So miracles are happening.
They are, Lisa. How old was she? May I ask you?
54.
54. Yeah, that is young.
Yeah.
And I assume she probably had a family.
Yes.
And everything like that.
Yep.
So, what would you say to somebody that's worried about this? What would you say, words of inspiration, anything that comes from your heart to let people know that you feel, honestly, it's not as bad as the news says it is. 1% of the population has it.
Right.
Do you have anything that you'd like to tell people about it or about the whole process, honey?
I'll just say that you are supported, you're loved. Statistically, you will get better. It's just a bump in the road, even though it's a big bump, but it's a bump in the road. But you hear on the news about how people are alone. You're not alone. You've got support and you're loved. And I'm grateful. The area that we're in Pennsylvania, we do have the resources, and you're safe.
And that's important. That brings people calm, peace, and hope.
Yes.
And you're just a beautiful person. You are our hero, Lisa.
Thank you.
And we love you very much. And thanks for all your long, hard hours and all your dedication. And honestly, it was my honor to bring you on. When you wrote to me, I was so moved. I thought, I gotta bring this lady on.
I just want people, don't give hope. Prayer helps, and there's miracle workers are out there, so don't give up.
And you've probably, during your whole career as a nurse, seen the power of prayer.
Yes, it works.
It does work.
Yes.
Every time someone prays, there's a golden beam of light that goes up to heaven, and the angels circle around that golden beam of light. And I know that. I've worked with angels. And I need to say that our angels are with us. Our loved ones are with us. We're not alone. And there is tremendous power in prayer. So I want to say, Miss Lisa, God bless you. And thank you to honestly taking this time from your busy schedule. And I wish you all the best. Keep in touch, would you please?
Well, thank you. Be well, everybody.
God bless you, darling.
You too. Thank you.
I think it's beautiful that in her Philadelphia hospital, they play Rocky. I remember that movie. I remember him on the steps of the Philadelphia Museum. Did you ever see that movie, Tony?
What was the name of it?
Rocky.
I don't know that one. That's way before my time. I'm just
Sylvester,
kidding. I'm kidding.
Syl-
Yes, I did.
Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
Oh, I know that probably would be way before your time.
No, I remember. I remember when it first came out. I was youngin', but yeah, it was a great movie.
Yeah, and it's a movie of to be able to overcome, to be able to survive. And we were talking about hospitals and how innovative they are for their patients coming in and what they do for them. And just think of this particular Philadelphia hospital who plays the Rocky theme and stands up and gives a cheer, a standing ovation to everyone that walks out of that hospital. That's, to me, very inspiring. That's love-based.
Yes, it is.
Everyone. That's not fear-based. That's love-based.
Love it.
So I have another guest. I'm going to get a drink of water. Everyone, hold on here.
Take a sippy poo.
Thank you, sir. My next guest is a cancer survivor. And I know that she has a beautiful heart. After her cancer, she made hats and shirts and that says overcomer. She was able to overcome. She's had an amazing life. She's a motivational speaker, and she lives in Nova Scotia, Canada. Our time frames are different. She's actually an hour later than we are here in Pennsylvania. But I thought about Tanya Marie, and I thought about what an inspiration she is and how she keeps moving forward through adversity. So of all the people that are dealing with this pandemic, that are isolated right now, we could use a few good words from someone that was able to overcome cancer. So I'd really like to bring Tanya Marie on if we can, Tony.
All right. Tanya Marie, you there? There she is.
Hello, beautiful.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful.
We can hear you. And I was saying to people before, I was introducing you, by the way, from Nova Scotia, and telling people how brave you are. I have to say that, Tanya Marie. You're brave, you have courage, you're optimistic, you're positive in the face of a crisis. And we could back up just for a minute. And you did tell me that you had a message from an angel, an angelic messenger. Would you like to share that?
Yeah, sure. Probably a couple days. It was within a couple days of my appointment for a mammogram, and through the night I woke up and was startled by the most unique and powerful spiritual experience, that I've ever had in my entire life. It's hard to put words to it, to be honest with you. Like it was amazing to me, but there was a messenger or an angel with me. And, it's just, the words are, I'll remember them forever. The messenger told me that I was going to be diagnosed with cancer, and told me that I was going to be afraid, and that everybody around me was going to be afraid too. And the messenger said to me, he gave me this phrase for me not to forget. And he said, hope will be your hind leg. And he wanted me to repeat it to him 3 times. Hope is my hind leg. Hope is my hind leg. Hope is my hind leg. And he said, he gave me these instructions. He said, I want you to focus on, what you're grateful for every day for having cancer. And he said, I want you to think about how this experience can help other people and find purpose in it. And he said, I want you to surrender and accept this experience, and let go of the fear and focus on love, and he said, love heals all things. And he
Beautiful.
said, don't hate the cancer. Cancer restricts and love expands.
Beautiful.
And I mean, the next morning I was questioning, like, did that happen? What was this experience? But lo and behold, 2 days later, I was diagnosed with cancer.
And you did move through that gracefully, and then you reached out to help others with cancer. And I was telling our listeners or viewers before you came on, you even made hats to overcome, right?
Yeah.
And shirts. So how have you fared during this pandemic in Canada? I know it's moving on through Canada, and I need to ask you, what are some of the things you do during the day to get through, Tanya?
Yeah. Well, I think the experience through cancer definitely helped prepare me for this. I had experienced isolation through my cancer journey. So being in isolation isn't something that's new to me, and I just really have drawn on all of the things that helped me move through cancer before. And so I'm hunkered down here in my home with my daughter, who's a paramedic. She's on the front line, and we're talking and making wonderful meals together and really bonding. And I have been praying a lot, and I've spent a lot of time in meditation, and been focusing on things that bring me joy every day. I've been working on my first book and studying astrology. I am part of a 21-day abundance group, and I formed my own group. So we meditate every day, and we reflect on things like what we're grateful for, and we're focusing on, what we want to manifest into our lives that brings us joy. So we're thinking about what happens next after, this pandemic, which you were talking about earlier. And, that was something that was important to me when I was going through cancer, was to make a bucket list and to think about the things that I really wanted to do in my life that would make me happy. And I'm doing that now too.
So it's a positive way of looking ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And in the way planning. I like the idea of the bucket list. And that brings hope in, Tanya. And you said you were journaling. What's your book about? May I ask you?
It's about hope and finding hope and having hope through difficult times, and how I overcame cancer. And hopefully it will be an inspiration for other people who are going through difficult experiences in their lives. I was really shaken to the core when I was diagnosed. And, there's nothing that shakes you up more than when you're told, you may die. So,
yes.
Before cancer, I think, I really struggled with hope. So it's important, and it feels important to me to share how I found hope in my life, and hopefully other people can benefit from my journey.
Well, you're quite an inspiration, my dear. And the 21, you called it the 21 abundance group, 21 day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that you formed a group, and every day you pray and meditate with this particular group.
Yeah, we have like a list of tasks that we do every day that is really focused on positivity and abundance, and changing the core vibration inside of you from one of like fear and hopelessness to one that is more hopeful and happy and peaceful. And it comes with a meditation too. It's built off of the Deepak Chopra and Oprah Winfrey 21 days meditation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that is a beautiful way to approach this, what we're dealing with really globally. And it's almost like the angel, and I love that story, was preparing you for what was to come, and telling you, in essence, to be brave, to have the courage, and then to get through it, and then to reach out to others. And you've done just that. And you are beautiful inside as you are outside, dear Tanya Marie.
Thank you.
You really are. You are an earth angel. I would call you. Do you have any closing words for those that are listening and watching? I mean, you've said so much.
I would definitely say, remember to take care of yourself. And, if you need to rest, because, we're being bombarded every day with these, very difficult things and messages. And, the news is horrific. So, if you can limit how much time you're exposing yourself to the negativity, do it. Find your purpose. So, maybe your purpose for going through this COVID-19 experience is to write your own book, or maybe it's to rest and spend time with your family because you were working so hard before.
Mhm.
Maybe it means you're going to have a career change, after this pandemic. And I would say focus on what you're grateful for. That's so important. Ask yourself, why is this happening for me? As opposed to why is this happening to me? And most importantly, just don't give up hope. Hope is our hind leg. And remember that the only thing absolute in life, jobs will come and go. This virus is going to go. So remember that the only thing absolute in life is love. And when this is all over, what we will remember most is how we shared love and how we received love. So, love more and worry less.
That's right. I like that. Love more and worry less. So I wish you all the best in Canada. Be safe. You're quite an inspiration, my darling. Thank you for taking time to come on this evening. And I want to say God bless you from the bottom of my heart, Tanya.
God bless you too, Michelle. You're
Stay
amazing.
Safe. God
Stay
bless.
safe.
Bye-bye, honey.
Bye.
Gas on. Am I on right now, Tony?
Yes, you are. You're sticking a little bit, but you're still on.
Okay. I can see half of myself frozen.
Now you're a little frozen, but I can hear you just fine. Oh, there you go.
We're going to take some calls. On the upper book, Spiritual Track, and it's 23 chapters, inspirational wisdom, along with prayer. It's called Spiritual Treasures, Reflective Wisdom and Prayer. And I think I'm frozen on there, but are we able to take any calls, Tony?
We sure can. Like I said, we can hear you. You're moving a little bit, but we definitely can take some calls.
And I'd like to keep the calls, please. What are you doing during COVID-19? What have you learned about yourself and others during this time? That would really be appreciated if we stick to the subject. So who's on there, Mr.
Well,
Sweet?
we have several. Most people, I guess, are wanting a reading, but they can hear you. So make sure if you we choose your number, if you could just kind of tell about your story of what you're going through and how you're holding up during this COVID-19. So let's go ahead and pull the first one. It's 203. I think it's Patrick from Connecticut, I believe. So let's try it.
Hello?
Patrick, you there?
Patrick from Connecticut. Oh, I'm moving.
There you go. You're finally moving. Patrick, you there? If not,
I'm alive again.
If Patrick, maybe he was on hold for a while, so he might. Let's go ahead and put him back in queue. Let's get the next one. Let's try a 717. So I don't know where that's at. So I believe it's Karen. Maybe Karen, is that you on the phone?
Hello. Hi.
Hi, Karen. How
Hi,
are you?
How are you? I'm holding up.
You are holding up. What have you been doing with yourself during this time?
I'm an essential worker, so I'm still working. Living the dream, I guess. I mean, I just go to work and I come back to my house. So I'm in the bit of a middle of a move right now. So.
And were you listening to us talking about hope?
Yes.
Because I feel that we all need it right now, Karen. And I feel the pendulum will swing, my dear, the other way. And it's good that you're still working, and that you are taking care, though, I hope. You're taking precautions, right, Karen?
I mean, I already got tested for it because I had a fever. So, I mean, as soon as my test came back negative, then I could go back to work. So, I mean, as far as that's going, I'm doing the best that I can, but my job isn't really interested in following protocol as they should be. So, yeah.
Yes, I was saying earlier, if you were listening, we need to really kind of follow the rules at this point, and keep safe, not just for ourselves, but for other people. Have that courtesy, Karen.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. And I kind of started that whole trend at my work. So we're slowly getting there, but it's been rough.
Well, I'm glad you're an innovator at work. I'm glad you started that trend. Keep up the good work, Karen. And I'm going to say God bless you, and I wish you well. Stay safe. Thank you for taking the time to call in.
Yes, thank you.
Bye-bye, dear.
Bye-bye.
All right, let's go.
Well, there is someone that is actually working.
I know. That's when I've been, like I said, I've been blessed that I keep working every day, so I love it. Well, let's go ahead and take a 201, and I don't know the name, but we're going to find out. So you're live on the air with Michele Livingston. Who's this?
Hi, this is Ann from New Jersey.
Ann from New Jersey? How are you doing, Ann?
I am well. I am very well and blessed and fortunate. And when a lot of people, it's easy to go into complaining mode. So I don't say that I'm isolated at home or I'm stuck at home. I say I am safe and comfortable at home.
That's a wonderful affirmation. We were talking about positive affirmations.
Yes.
And for those of you listening, I am safe. I am comfortable at home. We may all get too comfortable.
And I have everything. Yes. Too comfortable. I'm glad we're not on a video.
So have you learned anything now, my dear? You sound like a person of faith.
It's, I'm spending time walking in nature and reading and just having some quiet time to myself, which, I don't mind to a certain extent.
Well, I always say nature does nurture. And as I said earlier, this morning, I sit at my kitchen table every morning and I look out at the trees and the beauty of nature and watch all our critters, from bunnies to squirrels to deer to whatever. And I count my blessings in the morning. And it sounds like you count yours.
Yes, and it's a beautiful time of year. So just focus on the positive is the best way to get through.
That is right. But thank you for taking the time to give a call from New Jersey. Thank
you.
I'll keep you in my prayers, my dear.
Thank you. Likewise.
Bye-bye.
All right. That was a good one. I love positive people. Love it.
Positivity. That's what this show is about. Hope and positivity and prayer.
Right. That all adds up to one good thing.
It sure do.
Good connection.
It sure, as you would say from Kansas, it sure do.
It sure do.
See?
Well, do you want to take another one?
Sure.
All right, let's do it. Let's see, an 856 number. Don't know the name, but we'll find out. All right, 856, you're on with Michele Livingston. Who's this?
Victoria.
Hi, Victoria.
Hi, Michele.
And where are you calling from?
Tunkhannock, Pennsylvania.
Well, thank you so much. Hopefully you've been listening to the program. And how are you making out? How are you faring during isolation?
I'm still working from home, so I'm blessed in that way. I'm able to work with my pets at the house.
Do you have children to homeschool?
No, I don't.
But it's almost like a time of reflection, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I think people really are joining together and banding together for a common cause. And as you know, this evening I'm not doing readings. I'll do them some other time. But I thank you for at least calling in. And do you have fear, my dear? Are you kind of replacing that with love?
Am I what?
Do you have any fear about this, or are you trying to be more love-based?
Yeah. I'm trying to be more love-based, I would say.
So remember your positive affirmations. Remember counting your blessings. Okay, that does help. And I wish you all the best. And it's pretty nice to work from home, I think.
Yeah. I agree. I think it's going to be hard when I have to go back to.
Well, you have a good evening, darling. Thanks for taking the time to call.
Thank you.
Michele, do you mind if I ask a question?
No, not at all.
Well, we were talking about this earlier today. You know, I'm fortunate. You're fortunate. Many people are fortunate to have loved ones either in the home or loved ones that come and see you. You know, the woman and man going up to the gentleman and grandpa in the nursing home. But there's a lot of people might be listening in that really don't have a family or anybody that's checking on them and that are in isolation. How do they spiritually, if they're listening to your show today, how do they stay positive? How do they stay connected to a positive mindset when they are completely alone, or at least feel they're completely alone?
Well, as I said, Tony, I do really believe in the power of prayer, and it heals us and sustains us. I'm actually praying for those that are isolated without family. There is a story, you probably heard about it, where a couple was in a car crying, an elderly couple. They were afraid to go in the grocery store. They didn't have family. But because of their praying, someone came along and they handed that person a $100 bill. That person went into the store and bought their groceries and put them in their trunk. So I feel that, as I said earlier, counting blessings is important. Trying to lift yourself up and out of negativity, and having hope, just knowing that there will be somebody there for you, and taking this day by day, step by step,
right,
with hope. I like that story because, we're talking about those that homeschool their kids, those that are working from home, but there are people that are kind of in between all that, that have raised their children, that maybe their children have moved away, and they're sitting there thinking, how can I reach out? Who's going to be with me? So remember there is going to be light at the end of the tunnel. Just remember that. And prayer, I'm an advocate, Tony. I really am. Yeah.
I mean, and I think in people, they don't realize that it doesn't have to be get on your knees and pray. But I'm a constant talker to God. Car, walking around my office, waking up in bed, in the bathroom, I'm constantly talking to God. I mean, I don't, and it's not, doesn't even have to be out loud. It's just, that's what, even like I said, even though I have my partner, it's my husband, I don't feel alone even if he wasn't there because of that. Right. And you're surrounded, by your loved ones up there in heaven and by your angels. Oh, I know. So the book, Spiritual Treasures, up there, you can order it from my website, which is on the screen. It's michellelivingston.com. It's also on Amazon. And I'd like to close this show with a prayer that I wrote. In fact, I wrote just 23 chapters, as I said. And I'd like to read a prayer for hope. And then I'm just going to have some closing words. I thank my guests who brought a lot of inspiration to this show, and all of you that are watching and listening, God bless you. And so here's my prayer for hope, which I'm going to read. Heavenly Creator, we pray that your Spirit descends upon us like a dove of hope. When we stand alone, let us feel your presence enfold us, and your light protect us. And as a lighthouse in the darkest of times, let us be a beacon of light to spread hope to others. Each new day is a new beginning that gives birth to hope. We pray to persevere through setbacks and to look with expectation for a better tomorrow. And so I'm going to say, thanks for joining us. Stand strong, everybody. Please have hope. Do not give in to fear. Celebrate every moment, as we've talked about celebrating life. Celebrate each breath that you take. And I like this quote: life is as short as a bird's song. So make the best of every day, and we're all going to make the best together. So I'm going to say God bless you. I'll be back for another special podcast soon. I'll be announcing it. And thank you, Tony, for being a wonderful co-host with me. Thank you as always, and always good to see you and John, and stay healthy.
Thank you. God bless, honey.
You too, my dear.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Attract what you want in life. Learn more about your evolutionary soul journey. Gain in-depth knowledge about metaphysical concepts.
Start with Messages from Beyond. It's a spiritual guidebook that talks about the soul journey. Everything you've ever wanted to know is in this book. It's Spirituality 101.
Messages from Beyond, a spiritual guidebook. Available at michellelivingston.com and wherever books are sold.